This is the EWN Podcast Network.
Welcome to Late Boomers, our podcast guide to creating your third act with style, power, and impact. Hi, I'm Kathy Worthington.
And I'm Mary Elkins. Join us as we bring you conversations with successful entrepreneurs, entertainers, and people with vision who are making a difference in the world.
Everyone has a story, and we'll take you along for the ride on each interview, recounting the journey our guests have taken to get where they are, inspiring you to create your own path to success. Let's get started. Oh, I'm Kathy Worthington. Welcome to Late Boomers. Our guest today is Audrey Hope, certified addiction and trauma counselor. She holds a Master of Divinity and Metaphysics, as well as a resident addiction specialist certification, and also uses her abilities as a clairvoyant psychic medium to heal patients from trauma, addiction, domestic abuse, and other relationship issues. She currently works at the renowned rehabilitation treatment center Seasons, as well as at her own counseling practice.
And I'm Mary Elkins, known for her expertise in love and relationships and her experience in trauma healing. Audrey has been featured on CBS, E! News, Fox News, in magazines such as Glamour, Brides, and Shape, to name just a few. She's the host of her own weekly YouTube advice show titled Hope for Relationships, and also created, produced, and hosted the international show Real Women, that garnered numerous television awards. Welcome, Audrey. Glad to have you.
It's wonderful to be here. Thank you for having me.
So nice. Please tell us about your background and about what led you to the career path you are on today.
Well, I always say a funny thing happened on the way to the forum, right? I'm from New York, born in Brooklyn, raised in Queens, lived in Manhattan, and I came out to LA on a fluke, and I worked in a clothing store to support myself, and I started listening to women, hearing their stories, and I was just blown away at how women hated themselves, hated their bodies. There was no self-esteem. It just blew my mind. And I said to myself, I had to do something about it. So I actually went to sleep. I got the name Real Women in my dreams. And I decided I'm going to tell women they were brainwashed. And from there, if I would have been happy just holding a sign, I swear, just like you're brainwashed, you don't know it, because women didn't know they were so brainwashed by the culture, by magazines, by history. So this TV show evolved, and a lot of the women that I interviewed became very famous. Marianne Williamson, Joan Borisenko, Byron Katie. So it was a real thrill, to have them. And from there, I started having people over my house, and I started to realize something's going on here. I'm onto something. And they started bringing their friends. And then I ended up at a healing center, at a rehab. And I realized again, no one's doing the soul. No one is looking from a higher level of the soul. So I realized I'm contributing a piece that is new and exciting and very powerful. And I was alone in this at the time when I started. I guess people would sometimes laugh at me or say, all the things they say about spiritual people. But the proof was in the pudding. I started to see this gift that I had. Does that answer your question?
It does. It's interesting always to hear a little bit about the background, and because do you want to talk a little bit more how you discovered the gift?
Well, I guess, I always say my New York self is always the most powerful because, we don't take any crap and we get to the point. And so I've always been that. and sure of myself, and that has always helped me. And I just use common sense, and it just by doing it and just using my intuition, which is what I teach, by the way, how to get people to open up their intuition. Because if you do that, you'll always be guided and you'll always make the right decision. So it was just trusting that, moving through that. And then, of course, I studied with amazing teachers, teachers that, were just in Montana, Sedona, India. And it now became my own thing, getting to the root of the soul. Because I really think people want to know why they're in a relationship, karmically. How come this keeps happening to me? Or when a terrible trauma happens, what did I do to deserve this? I mean, these are the questions that people really have. So that's why I wanted to go to that level and help people because it really does stop the suffering to understand that you might have some karma, maybe it's a past life, maybe it just serves the soul and where you're supposed to be and what you're here to learn. So that perspective has been extraordinary, especially working with addicts.
Mm.
Drug addicts. It's
Y
been extraordinary
Yeah.
because I'm not, you know, into shame and guilt. I'm bringing something like transformation, like
Mhm.
caterpillar to butterfly. I always say, like, once you become the butterfly, you're not going to have to remember the caterpillar, right? So we could forget the drugs and what you did, and we could move fast into enlightenment. And that's been very exciting for addicts who have been suffering for so long.
Really good. Thanks.
Yeah. Um, well, can you talk about your relationship work and your additional thoughts on healing, and why you believe that melding the Western thinking for healing, why you believe that melding that with spiritual work creates a better outcome?
Well, with relationships, doesn't it, and you could probably relate to this, doesn't everything come down to relationships? I mean, eventually you start talking about relationships, right?
Hmm.
Yes.
So I like to bring in the energy piece because let's say you're suffering with a breakup, a heartache. There's an energy cord piece of attachment, even in divorce, even in death. And if you don't get it from that energy level, you're going to be caught. You might go see some therapists and you'll sit there for years. And why can't I heal? I've done everything. So, this energy piece is really amazing. People can see where they're corded and stuck. And so that's helping in getting free from a relationship. But when it comes to healing at the root of the root, there's a place where it all begins, and I call that the soul wound. The soul wound is where it all began, and it's also what you might have come into this earth to heal, right? We just don't remember. But as a child, maybe around age 5, 6, or 7, that's when the wound happens, and unless we get it from that deep soul piece, we're just gonna repeat it. We're gonna marry it, we'll find it all along. So I tried to get it at that place so we could really burn it, transform it. We don't want to carry our issues, right? Forever. We want to burn them. Burning is a very spiritual concept, divine fire. So if you can get it and have that real understanding. I mean, it's been fascinating some of the cases why someone comes in is jealous of another person or why they can't seem to get over a past love. To look at it from a past life is really extraordinary because that could be the reason too about why you're stuck. And unless you be able to look that way, you'll never know, right? I mean, some children they have these fears that are crazy, right? Water, and you got to be able to help them out by looking and tracing it. I know in psychology they call it the ancestral line, which is the genetics, the families, what your mother's mother, father's father did. But how about in other lifetimes? To be able to see that and catch that and get that is really
That's
transformational.
great. What tools and solutions do you provide for your patients to help them extinguish negative patterns?
Well, I really believe in raising the frequency of the body and into enlightenment. You know how we get joy from nature?
Yes.
Like nature's the best therapist,
Yep.
right? You go out, you don't really understand spirituality, but you understand the sunshine, you understand the ocean, walking on the beach, the mountains, that brings peace. So that's kind of a wow, higher feeling, right? Well, the body is really wired for that. We are wired for joy. Of, but we haven't been taught that. We've been taught to give our power away to an authority person, a priest, rabbi, a religious system. But with enlightenment, it's not that. It's about the body turning on the lights in the body. And by doing that, you experience a deep feeling of joy that's beyond thinking. Because a lot of clients, as you know, come in and say, I can't stop thinking. My mind is racing. There's monkey mind. So if you could teach and show what the body's capable of by this vibration of a higher light, the thinking stops and you go beyond the mind. And I've learned this from Gandhi's teacher, Sri Mataji, who showed me this meditation, which I love to give to my clients because they're like, oh, I feel so good. That's raising the energy
Mhm.
body, right? And when you want to manifest too, you always want to be in a high deserving vibration, right? Like Tesla said, everything's frequency, energy, and
Mhm.
vibration. So if you can bring people up to that joyful light beam and they live there, you can manifest dreams and also know that that's our natural state.
Do you have a tip or two on how our audience can do that for themselves?
Yes, stop everything you're doing, sit still, and find a peaceful place in your house and just imagine and call in, close your eyes and imagine the sun above your head, this beautiful light. It's like connecting to an iPhone, right? We're going to plug it in now and allow the cord from the sun, open up your head and allow this light to connect to your heart. And just feel and see that light going in and igniting all of your cells. And then say to yourself in silence, I am now allowing in the light. I'm surrendering to it. I'm allowing it. And all negative energy, leave me immediately and see whatever color the negative energy is in your body. Open up your bottom, your 2 feet, open up holes and just see the dark energies that you've been holding. Your body knows where it is, and just allow it to go out your body by your command. Because the secret of life is I am that I am. I am now commanding my energy, my negative energy to leave me immediately. All hooks, chains, cords, all energy I picked up from other people. I'm now commanding it to go out of my body and stay in that state until you feel this shining firelight.
Mm,
And
Good.
that will
I love
begin
that.
that. Yes.
Excellent. Sounds good.
Yeah, I love
Also
that.
put on some great music.
Okay.
When
I'm
all else
going to do
fails,
that later.
put on like Nights in White Satin or.
Sounds good.
Yeah, I had a
Yeah.
client who said, "I don't understand this, it's, like, out of my range," but then he was wearing a Mick Jagger jacket. So I said, "Okay, it's Mick Jagger." He goes, "Okay, I get it,"
Uh-huh.
you know? Whatever really gets you that little, "Ooh," is good.
Yeah.
That's the
Yeah.
beginning of understanding it. Even flowers. I mean, do you ever really
Oh,
look at a
yeah.
All
flower?
the time.
It's
Oh,
beyond me. I mean, just really study it.
Mhm.
I mean, it's like,
always.
wow, where the hell
Well
did you come from? You can get enlightenment from a flower.
well, the flowers have incredible energy,
Yes.
and they've even I've read that they've even mapped the energy on special machines. I don't recall what they're called, but, they've actually seen this. talk to
sacred
us a
geometry.
little bit.
It's sacred geometry, and it's mind blowing to see that
Yeah,
it was created from a seed. And
Hmm.
so, you could start looking for miracles in your own house.
true. Talk to us a little bit more about soul healing and also about your rehab work at Seasons.
Well, Seasons is grown. We now have a professional house, a mental illness house. We have a drug addiction house. So I think we have 4 houses now. So people are coming. They come sometimes for, let's say, drinking, but I always say it's just the thing that got you there, or, whatever, depression, anxiety got you there. Now the healing begins. Now we need to really look and see what's going on, because the blessing is where you stumble, there lies your treasure, right? That's Joseph Campbell. So I never look at the level of it, like if you're using drugs, okay, great. Now let's go beyond that and see what's happening here in a deeper level. So I never care so much what you're using, how much you're using. I mean, it's good information, but it's the deeper issues that got you to your knees to do some of the work you were probably hiding in the closet most of your life, right? We don't want to look at trauma. That's a big problem. People are afraid. I locked it away. I don't want to bring it out again, right? And that's a big thing. So to help the client see that we don't have to revisit everything, we can do it in many different ways, but we do have to empty the closet.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
we'll get on
Well,
overload, and the overload will look like anxiety, right?
Mhm.
And then it
yeah.
becomes, why do we get sick? There's an emotional, spiritual component to why we get sick.
Well, can you tell
Yeah,
us?
and I would assume you use soul healing to help them heal as
Yes,
well as
yes.
everything
I
else, yeah.
had a woman who came in with psoriasis. She was constantly going like this, scratching, getting it off. We found out that her father abused her, and she was actually doing the action of trying to get him off of her body. So if you match the issue to, if you say, how do you feel about your illness? Or talk about that, it ends up matching the illness.
Oh,
That's also mind blowing. So to go to that level, I'm recalling some instances where, for example, a woman was very upset that her husband was workaholic. So while she was at the rehab, she developed breast cancer. We found out. So he stopped everything and he came to see her. Well, the cancer got his attention.
mhm.
So the body and the soul will do that. It will find another way to get its needs met.
Yeah.
So it's also good to look at a higher lens about illness,
Hmm.
why we get sick and why we have back pain.
Hmm. They're
You
crying
know,
out for help. Can you tell us a little bit about
Yeah.
your YouTube advice show, which I'm really interested in hearing, Hope for Relationships? And what types of advice do you offer on there?
well, I wanted to, some people will say, don't give it away. And I actually feel opposite. I want to give it all away. um, I mean, I just wanted to, you know, reveal and give the little nuggets of things that could help people. One, two, three, go, right? So I decided I was going to document that in a relationship show. And so I would do a 30-minute show, then I would do a 2-minute version of it. So if you wanted, and who knew that TikTok was going to be so popular that our brains can't handle more than 2 minutes at a
Right.
time.
Mhm.
So I wanted to document it.
Hmm.
So that's what I did.
So on that show, do you talk
Yeah.
to people on there, or is it just mostly you giving advice?
People write in and give me their
So
problems.
they're
Ah,
not like hooked up like a recording like this.
No, no, they would
Interesting.
write in, and then give that answer, you know, and
And
always from a higher level, what you can do. Like if you want to know if you're karmically involved with someone, that's a big question. Is my karma, right? You don't have to be that. It's not that complicated. It's where's the drama, right? Where's the Shakespearean intensity? And and there is the answer. Or did I do this before? Why does this feel so familiar? Why do I always end up in the same place with the same kind of person, right? Pretty much we could say, it's probably your karma. And that's a good thing to know because if you could track it, you could save years of heartache and suffering. So I like to call this now, and this is my book, the spiritual science of love, which is it's like a business plan. It's like a formula. If you do what needs to be done, you will have true love. And that's my formula. Do this, do this, do this, learn this, understand relationships are madness. Understand that when you get married, that's stage one, maybe the blindness stage. You're eventually going to end up in some kind of stage three, which are the problems. And if you understand that's the alchemy of it, you won't freak out. And I do that in spirituality too. People don't understand the manual of life and the game of life. If you're on this path and you go up, higher and higher and evolve, the challenges are going to get more and more. They're not going to stop because you're stronger. It's like going to the gym, you get more weight, you have to push. So I wanted people to know that and to understand the path that it's going to get more challenging. Okay, great. We're here to be warriors. Just know it, expect it, and you won't freak out. When you know the game, that's half the suffering.
yes, and I can imagine everybody needs that kind of advice. Um, so tell us about your TV show, Real Women. I understand that it's international. And if anyone that you've interviewed on it changed or influenced your life.
Well, that just all those questions you just asked just give me chills.
Yeah.
Well, you're
Yeah.
in my wheelhouse, and anytime we talk about women, I'm in this place because I'm so passionate about what's happened to us and how we've been suffering. And here we are, right? I'm shocked that here we are again in this day and age. It's beyond women's rights, it's beyond body health, it's spiritual. When you attack women, you're attacking the spirituality of all of us because this energy that rises through the Kundalini, through the spine, is a feminine energy. It's the mothering energy, right? If you try to take it down, you destroy the balance of the world. So the patriarchy is a deeper issue than just our rights. It's a real deep issue. Silence the woman and you take over the world. And so it's been done to us in her story. There's no her story, there's only his story,
Hmm.
right? So that
Yeah.
people understand what's happened to the woman, the goddess. Because if you can blame it all on Eve and start in the Bible and, it's all her fault, then you wonder why we give our power away. So there's many different levels of this, and the real level of healing must be one at a time to give women back their self-esteem. Forget about the men for now. Heal the woman, and then she will inspire healing in the world. So that's kind of how it works. The women's self esteem has been taken down on all levels to believe we're second, we're not good enough, skinny enough, smart enough. It's all a trick of power. Get people to turn against themselves and you own them. It's just the history of brainwashing. It's like a triangle. You take the power from the top and you divide from the bottom, north, south, east, west, Republican, Democrat, and you take down the person to believe they're not good enough, and then you could do anything you want. You get the money, you could brainwash them, and this has been done to us, since the beginning of time. So I'm passionate about bringing back the power to think for ourselves, critical mind thinking. And if I have to do it one at a time, I'll do it one at a
So
time.
on that show, are you showing people that, uh, are you, did you have people on the show that have seriously influenced your life?
Yes, they were the voices of the age. I mean, Marianne Williamson, of course, she was a pioneer, of Course in Miracles, right? Byron Katie was all about the four questions. Is this true? How do I know it's true? Where would I be without this belief system? And then I turned it around. I called it the technology of freedom, because when you stop putting your energy on other people and think about yourself, what am I doing? How can I help myself? And stop worrying about other people. That's freedom, right? So self love, self esteem, self sovereignty, that's what we need to get back and put our attention on that. And so she was a very big influence. Another person was Sri Mataji Nirmala Devi, who was Gandhi's teacher as a little girl, who we went through the Bible and saw the ways that they started to take women down, just through that. It began there, even before that. So she was the one who taught me about the mothering energy being the energy in the spine and the Kundalini energy. So she changed my life. And to this
How do
day,
people access
uh,
that TV show?
it's on my YouTube, Audrey Hope now,
Oh,
and they'll find it there.
oh,
Yeah.
super. And what do you recommend for
Yeah.
women and men too to help them strengthen their bodies and spirits and gain self respect and elicit respect from others?
Okay, that what a great question, right?
It's a big one.
Yeah. It's a big one, and again, self-love. Who did you give your energy to, and who took it? Start there.
Hmm.
And which scorecard are you following? Whose life are you living? Who did you which belief systems are you following? And answer those questions to begin to take it back. Because when I call it the two O's, the outside world and the other people, the two O's. If you're going to care so much what other people think, or if you're going to have a donut hole, a wound from childhood, and you're going to ask someone else to fill it, you are in danger. You are in trouble. So to begin to heal, take your power back and concentrate. What am I doing in this relationship? It's a mirror. Life is a mirror. Relationships are a mirror. Instead of blaming, stay still and ask the question, how is this relationship inspiring me to heal what I need to heal?
That's important. Thank you. And can you talk about manifesting? And also, I saw in your information that TikTok's manifesting trend is has weighed upon you, and I'm curious what your thoughts are about that.
Well, is that the 6912 of Tesla? I think they're going crazy on TikTok with that. You do 3 times in the morning what you want, you affirm 6 times in the afternoon, 9 times at night. He was into these numbers. And I'm also not so much into affirmations as I am into healing to manifest, because you can't just say, I am now attracting money or now attracting my soulmate. You got to do the work on it to see the blocks. So that's what gets me going about manifestation, is that it's so much more. It's about healing what you need to heal in order to have it. If you don't have the relationship of your dreams, there's something there that you need to look at that's a block. Maybe you're manifesting your father, maybe you're manifesting your mother, Maybe the issues you never healed are exactly what's in the other person, right? So you'll have to look at the patterns, the characters, and the themes that you keep attracting. And if you really want to change it, you'll do this study and the tracking and the work on why you keep attracting the same person over and over again. So that's how we manifest. We begin to look deeply into the energy we carry, the beliefs we carry, the wounds unhealed, and what we're really putting out into the universe. Because if you don't feel you deserve something, you'll manifest it. Or if you're a person that is not of integrity and you're wondering why the person you're with is a liar or a cheat, I mean, come on.
There's the mirror.
Yeah.
There's an easy thing. I once had a client who said, "Oh, yeah, I cheat on my wife, but she'll never find out." But then his partner in business was cheating on him. So that energy will come back to you, and you don't need airy fairy stuff. You just need to look at your life. That's where the New York comes in. Be real. Look at your life and what's coming into your life and your front door. All of it is right there. You don't need to believe in anything. Or also, where are you suffering? Suffering is something that makes people listen.
Mhm.
You
Pain
said
is
it was a
a great
magnet, definitely.
Pain is a great awakener. It's an invitation to ascend, right? So we don't need it if we're listening, right? Some people get a love tap. Listen, listen. Then it goes a little harder. Listen. You still don't pay attention. Then the Mack truck comes, right? So it's because we're not listening. We're not paying attention to the signs in the body. And everyone can access their intuition. It's different things for different people, depending on the sense they have. Some people hear it, some people feel it, some people see it. And you have to be able to know your own instrument.
Yeah. Well, you've worked with a number of well known celebrities and entrepreneurs. So, can you speak a little bit about that? And do you have any stories you can tell us about how you helped them?
Oh, that takes me on a wild journey.
Oh,
Oh, yeah, no, no, no. Let me think. Let me think. Well, it was a great honor to be with, a lot of famous people, musicians, designers, heads of state. And to be able to, I'm not allowed to say some of them unless they've actually come out and mentioned that they've been in rehab. But it was a great honor. And what I learned is that we all suffer the same. So you're covered in fame, you're covered in money, you're covered in a lot of things. But deep down, we are all the same and we all suffer the same. So that was a big, big lesson that you really need to do the deep core stuff because it's going to cause a lot of problems when it's taken away, right? And you're going to still have to do the work on yourself that you need to do, which if you were made fun of or bullied, right? And you're famous and you think, oh, wow, that's great. Now I'm this. That energy of that bullying is still inside of you, that insecurity. And you need to get it at its root. And you can't get it through something else. You can't get it through fame, relationships. You have to go back and heal it at its root.
Yeah. They're so busy. I would wonder if they all have the time to work on themselves. Have you seen quite a bit of success in that arena?
Yes, yes, because they're stopping. And like where I work, we have an amazing team. We're doing EMDR, brain spotting, other modalities to heal trauma. So if you come in for a month, you're going to be a well oiled machine when you leave because you're going to look at everything. And I think healing is different pieces of the pie, not just one thing, right? Not just one modality. So if you're doing all those pieces, you will change. And that is magnificent. And working with a lot of actresses, hearing the stories of, people have come on to them and things they felt that they didn't want to do for parts. That's still, I thought that was over, but That's still going on.
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not just in the, Betty Davis era.
Yeah.
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 Audrey, what would you like our audience to have as a takeaway today?
I would like to say that we're going through some really difficult times. And we have been in the last few years. Don't be jaded or discouraged, and understand from a spiritual level that things have to come out and expose themselves in order to be healed. And it's a great time to awaken. So just follow it along, and it will take us somewhere as a nation and individually. We will be led somewhere from all of this pain, and it will be an even greater light than we ever imagined.
Mm, Thank you from your lips. Thank you so much, Audrey. Our
Thank
guest
you.
today on Late Boomers has been Audrey Hope, award-winning certified addiction specialist and trauma counselor, relationship expert, spiritual healer, and host of her YouTube show Hope for Relationships and the award-winning international show Real Women. You can reach Audrey at audreyhope.com, at the Audrey Hope on Instagram, on other social media sites, and on Audrey Hope Now on YouTube.
Yeah, we want to remind our listeners that we now have our own YouTube channel, Late Boomers Podcast. Please subscribe. Also, please subscribe to the podcast on your favorite platform so you don't miss any of our weekly episodes. And please follow us on Instagram at Late Boomers and at I am Kathy Worthington and at I am Mary Elkins. We hope that our episode today entertained, informed, and inspired you and lit the path to the life you were meant to live. Thanks again, Audrey.
Thank you so
Thank you so
much. It's a
much.
pleasure.
Thank you for joining us on Late Boomers, the podcast that is your guide to creating a third act with style, power, and impact. Please visit our website and get in touch with us at lateboomers.biz. If you would like to listen to or download other episodes of Late Boomers, go to ewnpodcastnetwork.com.
This podcast is also available on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and most other major podcast sites. We hope you make use of the wisdom you've gained here and that you enjoy a successful third act with your own style, power, and impact.